this week's episode of The Enthusiast, I am back. I am back for season 4 of The Enthusiast. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. And the Phantom has been shot. Yes, the Phantom has been shot. He has been shot. And will the prophecy of the Moz still happen? That is the big question coming out of this week's episode. And heaps more in this week's episode of The Enthusiasts. In the last couple of weeks, few publications have released the 36th edition from the Collector's Replica series. And the cover, and I'm about to open, because on Thursday, we'll take a little bit of adventure here. On Thursday, I went down the street and I went into my local news agency, and yes, I still get my Phantom comics from my local news agency, and I got the latest Phantom comic that has come out, and it's the Collector's Replica series, and I'm going to open it for you right now. Here right now on this live recording, we have got the Phantom, the Collector's Replica series, number 36. And it is issue number 1951. It is 100 pages of absolutely grand spanking awesomeness. And look at that cover. Like, that cover, for me, is better than the last couple that we've been seeing. Like, in this series, of the last maybe 5 to 6 issues that we've seen in this series, 1 or 2 of them have been very, very substandard. And I always say that with utmost passion. And this one comes out, and it's back to where we were going in the first couple of issues from issue number 30. And it's just back to the good old painted covers. And all these painted covers that we've been seeing, except for the couple that have been the digital ones, I have really been liking this type of work. And when you change that type of work to a digital type of work, all in abruptly, it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel like it's going in the same direction. And when you come out with this again, that is like it's getting back on course. It's getting back on the right direction, I reckon. And next week, there's supposed to be a very, very special issue coming out. But I will wait until I can have my own opinion on the book. I'm not going to be spoiling, because I may have seen something on Facebook that I don't entirely want to see, because I don't want to get spoiled myself. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. And until then, what else are we going to be talking about on this show? On this first episode to the 4th season of The Enthusiast? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Because coming up on this week's show, in the creator news, Paul Mason will be going to Oz Comic Con Brisbane. Joan Boyce shares the original black and white artwork of his latest Phantom Men cover, which is going to be awesome. It's a great snapshot to what Joan Boyce's cover arts and Joan Boyce's artwork actually looks like without colour. So it's awesome. And we have in publisher news this week, we have Regal Publishers to release the 3rd anniversary Phantom comics after 3 years of publishing, which is very, very good and a very big statement for Indian comic book fans. And we're going to have a little bit of a talk about Shakti Comics and yet again missing another deadline. We're going to be talking about that. And Hermes Press release a production update on their latest book. Egmont releases Phantom Men numbers 18 and 19. And in the merchandising news, this is the part where I get overly excited, because we're going to be talking in the merchandising news, we're going to be talking about the Phantom official video game update. Yes, there's more happening with the Phantom. And also we have original artwork section. What could that be? And also we've also got the good old latest news segments, the saga of the 21st Phantom. Dungeons Undone. Is the Phantom already gone this time? Next up, in this week's creator news, Paul Mason has shared on Instagram and Facebook that he will be attending Oz Comic Con Brisbane. If you want to learn more about Paul Mason's Phantom artworks and more about his work on the Phantom, on Kid Phantom, and all the other things that he has been associated with, you can now watch my interview that I exclusively done with Paul Mason, and it will be up here. As I said, he's going to Brisbane, and Brisbane is a nice place. It's got some sunny weather, and it's going to get even better when Paul Mason goes to Oz Comic Con. We have also seen Joan Boyce share his latest cover for the Norwegian Phantom Man magazine. But this time he has shared what the cover looks like in black and white without the use of colors. And it looks fantastic. You had the artwork that you could transcend time with. It would be that, because the Phantom in it. It has Diana Palmer walking in it, and not only it have Devil. Yes, all the fan favorite characters are bagged into this artwork, and it is fantastic. I can't express how much I love it, and I can't express how much passion I have right now. You can now watch my show, The Enthusiast, on Anchor and Spotify. The Enthusiast, where the passion for the Phantom doesn't waver. And new episodes weekly on Tuesdays. I will also be putting a link to the podcast in the description down below. In this week's publisher news, Regal Publishers will be releasing 2 Phantom comics. Yes, you heard it right from me. They're going to be releasing 2 Phantom comics to celebrate 3 years of publishing their Phantom comic book series, with one of the spectacular covers being done by the ever so talented Ann Kit Mitra. Fans have also been left in limbo of when the latest Phantom comics are supposed to be released by Shakti Comics, which, as we have seen time and time again, when Shakti Comics announces that they're going to be publishing a new set, does that then mean that the fans have to think, oh, but is this set going to be released on time? Is this set going to be in our hands reading it at the time after they have finished publishing it? Because the last 2 or 3 sets they have released have been delayed, and they have been delayed, and they have been delayed every single time in the last 2 to 3 sets. And now, this set number 10, fans haven't even received this set number 10 yet. And the reason why we all come back to why is all the sets and why is all these 3 comic book series always getting delayed is because we have some printing issues that we need to fix. They fixed that, and they went and they fixed that, and they changed their printing. They changed their place where they print the Phantom comics and the Flash Gordon comics and the Mandrake the Magician comics. And yet, we're still here, we're still deciding, and we're still not getting our Phantom comics. And I know that, well, you could have that, but we were having technical issues. Yes, that's okay. And that's okay to have technical issues. But if you if you've just done it only one time, that's okay. You do it for 2 or 3 more times, then people start to think that, is this the company that delays Phantom comics? Or does this then mean that I have to wait longer for my Phantom comics that I've nearly probably already pre-ordered? It doesn't add up to if you are on and pre-ordered the latest Phantom comics from Shakti Comics, and they have like a date that they've set, and you put that in your calendar, and you know that Phantom comic is supposed to come out on the 20th of August, but it doesn't get released on the 20th of August, and you're still thinking here, well, it's 6 days after the 20th, and you're still thinking, no updates have been released. Does that then mean that these comics and this comic set are still going to be delayed And are they then going to be setting a new date? Does that put any sort of trust in whether I buy more future sets of these comics? Does that then mean that if future sets from Shakti Comics get delayed, does that put enough trust in the customer that's coming to Shakti Comics, she or he is wanting to buy the latest Phantom comic and doesn't know whether these future sets are going to be released or not? And then also doesn't know whether those sets are going to get delayed. And as a company, you have to be onto it from the get-go. And that is my rant for today. Hermes Press has also put out an update on their latest addition to their complete Phantom Dailies book series. And in the update, they have addressed that the book has a major issue, has a major error. With this book being a part of a series, this is a serious issue. And on a lighter note, Egmont are going to be releasing Phantom Man 18 and 19 after already publishing Phantom number 817 in all series. That was pretty wild. You are now able to get 14% off all things Hermes Press with the code Enthusiast 2022. All in one word. Whether you are looking for something new to read on an afternoon sitting laying back in your lounging chair, or just looking for something to add to your collection, there's always something at Hermes Press to fit your needs. And in the merchandising news this week, we have had some very exciting more updates with the Phantom video game coming out in next year in 2024. These updates include new official Phantom video game t-shirts, animation updates, and a new starter game page with even more updates to come in soon from the team at The Art of Play and Ash Tabor Nichols. And now we have our newest news segment. It is called the Saga of the 21st Phantom, Dungeons Undone. Is the Phantom really gone this time? This week in the Phantom Dailies, well, if you haven't been paying attention, I think most people by now, it's been 2 or 3 years since this comic strip and this particular saga has started, and most of them are either paying attention or they're not. And like myself, sometimes I'm paying attention to what's happening in this comic strip. And it has been, if you've been paying attention to the comic, the Phantom has been shot. Yes, the Phantom has been shot in the last couple of weeks. Before this episode of The Enthusiast comes out, the Phantom has been shot. And this week, we have seen him throughout the week thinking that this adventure to Graveline Prison has always led him to this, has always led him to being nearly or potentially getting shot. It has led him in a pathway where he is potentially going to get shot, and if he doesn't get shot, then there's going to be dire consequences for him and his family. And that is just, in part of it, it's a very good narrative, and other parts it can be very frustrating when you're only getting one panel each and every day, and then suddenly there's 2 panels, and suddenly there's 3 panels, and then we go back to 1, and it is all happening. And we have all been reading, most of us have, these last few years to see what was actually going on in the Phantom comic strip. And then for it to eventually lead to the same place where everyone already knew what was going to happen. It's somewhat, as I said, it's somewhat tiring, but at the same time, it is outright frustrating. And as always, I guess with everything in life, and with everything that goes on with it, it's just like a fine red wine. And lastly, original Ray Moore Phantom Sunday artwork is up for auction at Heritage Auctions. The current bid, as of this recording on the 26th of August, it is currently at $1,002, and the auction will run for 22 days. But the artwork that I have up on the screen right now, it looks very similar to Wilson McCoy's art on the comic strip in his years he was drawing the Phantom. And as you can now see, you can now follow us on our social, Instagram at Phantom Cave Reviews and on Facebook at Phantom Cave. And you can also, if you would like to consider subscribing to Phantom Cave Reviews and enjoy Phantom Cave Reviews, then you can tell us what you would like to see on the new season of The Enthusiast. And as always, keep Phantom Caving, and you'll see me next week on another episode of The Enthusiast.